Hello everyone, welcome back to the second episode of Jedi Academy. I am Obi Kenobi and with me is,
Jedi Master Tuck, back for another episode, ready for our second episode, man.
yep, this is going to be fun. Last week
Yes.
we got into the Phantom Menace. Today we're going to talk about Attack of the Clones and go over a little bit more of the Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer because that came out right before we aired this the first episode last week, so we didn't get a chance to go over it, but we'll go
Right.
over it today. So, what are your opening thoughts about Attack of the Clones?
Attack of the Clones. So yeah, I rewatching it. Again, like I said before, I appreciate the prequels more when I watch them sort of as a Clone Wars episode or an extended Clone Wars episode. Because the story is there. The story is there of Anakin and Obi Wan and Yoda and all that's there. You know, they set all that up very well. I think the biggest flaws from the prequels and especially this movie is the dialogue. Just George
Right.
Lucas's dialogue is just it's when they get to the love scenes and him trying to it's some of it is unwatchable. It's hard to get through, but overall. I still love when Yoda shows up at the end. I mean, the Dooku fight overall is a great fight. The the pit scene and the Coliseum is really cool. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff in this movie for sure.
And I love all the stuff on Camino with the clones. I
Yeah.
love getting the clones back to slowly.
Hmm.
Now, Anakin throughout this movie makes a few creepy faces towards Padme. The entire love story is so hard to watch.
It
Everything
is because it just feels forced. It feels so forced.
yes, no pun intended, I'm guessing.
No, right, right.
I mean, and I guess you have to blame that on Lucas, right? On George Lucas. Yeah,
His storytelling, like I said, I think is top notch. It's just the dialogue he's just not great at. He's not great at the dialogue part.
well, I think it's been on record. He's not an actor's director.
Yes.
So, yeah, I'm so excited and curious to see
And
his
see, and I think it makes
impressions.
it double hard because if you remember, like Harrison Ford said about the original trilogy, is you can write this stuff, but saying it is a different thing. And then if you have somebody that's kind of tough to work with as a director, and
Yeah.
it's his vision, it's his baby, I can understand the challenges that happened.
And you have somebody like Samuel L. Jackson in this movie. How do you make Samuel L. Jackson going? Because I think George Lucas found a way to do that in all three prequels.
Yeah.
Maybe minus a scene in Revenge of the Sith. We'll get there next time, but yeah. What did you think of Mace Windu in this movie?
Overall, I love the character. Overall, I do love the character. I think he's underused. I would say because especially once you know who he is and how powerful he is, and he's pretty much the only one that Yoda said could ever rival him as Grandmaster of the Jedi Academy. So yeah, he is a bit underused, but I like him. I mean, the fight with Jango Fett is cool. Never expected to see that in a Star Wars movie where somebody loses their head.
No.
So, but yeah, I mean, I like him overall, but I would agree he is underused and a little bit kind of boring and drab throughout.
I mean, I will say that after seeing 7 through 9, I would say I would say 1 through 6 feels like one complete story to me.
Mhm.
Like in one through line. What you get into 7, 8, 9, they didn't have a plan, so it was all discombobulated. And they didn't feel connected at all, to me anyway.
Right.
And I don't know, okay. I love Single Fett. I love Boba Fett in this one.
Yeah.
The 50s diner scene, I think I could have dealt without. What
Fair
did you
enough.
think
Okay.
about that diner scene?
It's not. I mean, I don't mind it, but I agree. I mean, it's not necessary. I wouldn't say it's necessary to the whole story. But it is cool that they introduced that they are the clones, or at least Jango Fett is what the clones are based off of, and all that. Um, yeah, no, I love that they introduced them in that way. I think that was a cool that Boba Fett is a unaltered clone of Jango.
Absolutely. Now, before we got started, you said you found a plot hole. What is that plot hole?
Yes. Okay. So when they get to back to Tatooine, and they're going to look for his mother, Anakin's mother, Shmi, they go to Watto, and he says that Shmi's with Ben and or
Owen.
Owen. Yeah, sorry, Uncle Owen. So they go to Uncle Owen, and they meet Owen and Baru, but who introduces them to them? Do you remember? Who comes
Ain't
out
it
and greets
3PO?
them?
Ain't it 3PO?
It's 3PO.
Yeah.
But in A New Hope, they buy 3PO from the Jawas, and Owen doesn't remember 3PO somehow. Wouldn't you think if he spent at least a few years there with Shmi as their personal droid, that name would ring a bell when the Jawas come and say, "Oh, we have C3PO and R2D2," and
Holy. Damn,
am
you're
I
right.
wrong? Am I stretching a little bit?
No. No,
How long
you're
was she
right.
actually there? How long was she there? Do we know? Do we know the exact time? Because he's obviously older. I mean, he was 10 when they got him from Tatooine, and he's what, 17 or 18 in Attack of the
But
Clones.
no, you can't. Anakin made him. Anakin made him. So he
Right,
was over.
but he stayed with
Huh.
Shmi and
Right.
when Shmi went to stay with married Owen's father and all that, he went with her. So he was there with her. Again, I don't know exactly how many years it was, but at least some amount of time.
The
So,
well, that's mentioned.
but I mean, they do the same thing with C3PO, where Obi-Wan meets, or Ben Kenobi meets R2D2 in A New Hope, and he's like, I don't remember this droid. And I mean, after you watch the prequels, you're like, how do you not remember that droid?
Right, right. Yeah,
So,
I mean, yeah.
but it's just something I
Well,
never picked
okay.
up on before, and I was like, oh wow, that is 3PO, and I was like, man, that how does he not remember that? How does Owen not remember him?
Let me ask you, I don't remember we talking about it last week. How do you feel about Anakin making 3PO?
Making 3PO? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's unnecessary, but again, George, he was going to get him in those movies. He was going to get all of them, or him and R2 in those movies one way or another. So, like I said, I think the only other way I would see it possible is sort of similar to like R2D2, where he's just maybe Watto's personal droid or something that he gets in the bet, or I don't know how else he could have introduced him. I guess in that sense.
They could have introduced him in a similar way they introduced Jar Jar. Like maybe somehow they just happen upon him on a distant planet.
Sure.
I don't know if that would have been better. You know, you know what? Maybe instead of Jar Jar, maybe they introduce 3PO that way and get rid of Jar Jar. That would have been
That could be the
better.
better way to do it. Yeah. Yeah.
Why? That's a really good point. Why did they need? If they were going to introduce 3PO, I would have given 3PO Jar Jar's role. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Right. Yeah. No, I completely
And,
agree with you. I mean, honestly, other than the Darth Jar Jar theory, he really serves no purpose.
well, I mean, I guess you could blame the whole Galactic Empire on him, though.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, that is true. Yeah, because he is basically the reason that Palpatine is Chancellor. So that is true.
but I do find it interesting as the prequels went on. His part in the prequels went smaller and smaller.
Mhm.
And so much until Revenge of the Sith, I believe he didn't have one line in that movie, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think so. Yeah, I think you might be right.
You
I
didn't,
don't remember him.
you
Yeah, I
didn't
don't
see
remember him
him.
saying.
You didn't see him in one scene at Padme's funeral, and
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah,
I do find it interesting.
that is interesting. Yeah,
Now, you said you were a fan of a Yoda fight?
the Yoda. Oh, of course. When Yoda shows up, man, and he's does the where he floats the lightsaber to his hand. I mean, come on, and then starts flipping around and doing. Yeah, as a Star Wars fan, when you first saw that, that was the greatest thing that ever happened. I mean, that was Rogue One Darth Vader level. That really was at the time. That was
I,
that was that
I
scene.
have. When you what is a better scene? That scene of the Vader scene in Rogue One.
And seeing Vader in Rogue One, yeah. Oh, that
Yeah,
was
what is a better scene?
ooh, that's tough. Better scene. I would say that for as far as a fight scene goes, the Yoda scene because of the Anakin, Obi Wan, and Yoda all fight. But as far as just pure fan want to see something cool, Vader scene. I mean, yeah, that's seeing Vader at peak power, just literally walking through people.
One bold question. Vader scene or Luke scene in Mandalorian season 2?
Luke, Luke, by far. I
Yeah,
mean, that's one of the
wow.
coolest. Yeah, that's pure masterpiece work right there. That's Dave Filoni just knowing he's tapping into George Lucas at that point. I mean, that was masterful. Him crushing that one at the very end, but I mean,
Mm.
just all of that is beautiful. Because
Now,
again, that's peak Luke. That is absolute peak Luke.
now let me ask you. Your first time watching that episode,
Mhm.
did you see that coming?
No, I didn't see it coming. I honestly didn't. Because the first time you see him with the lightsaber is actually through the TV screen, and it's black and
Right.
white. So I still wasn't sure at that moment who it was. But then they cut to him with the green saber. As soon as I saw the hand and the green saber, I mean, obviously you knew. So, but yeah, no, I didn't pick it up right as soon. I kind of had a feeling because I was like, one X-wing, who could that be? Who could that be at this time? I was like, I don't understand why one X-wing would show up, but it made sense completely. Yeah.
I think once I saw the X-wing, I think I knew.
Okay.
It's an X-wing.
I
No,
heard that he might be in it, but again, I didn't put it together fast enough. I guess I just didn't. It didn't come together. I thought maybe he would show up at the very end to take Grogu, like he did, but without all the extra stuff we got with it. That was
that X-wing stuff. Man, that was cool.
yes,
Uh,
yeah. I thought we might get like a 30-second to a minute scene with him, maybe at the most. That was it, if at all. Because obviously there were rumors before it aired, but nobody was 100% sure.
do you think we'll get him again in Ahsoka?
And Ahsoka,
Yeah,
probably. They said Vader is in it. They said Hayden Christensen is in it.
yeah.
So I wouldn't see why. I mean, maybe they're having a conversation and they do a flashback of Anakin, and with them talking over the flashback and her telling different stories about it. That would be a cool scene.
Oh, Force Ghost, Force Ghost Anakin, Luke, and Ahsoka all having a conversation together. That would be a cool scene.
Yes, that would be. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, if his Force
That
Ghost
would
showed
be,
up. Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
that would be,
Because we get the hint of it in Boba Fett, as far as that they've had that conversation, or at least
right,
a version of it.
right,
So to see them, yeah, get back together, because so okay, so she's going to go off and look for Thrawn and Ezra.
right.
That's what her show is pretty much based around. And they're saying Hayden Christensen's going to be in it. Is Luke going to go with her?
No, but I wouldn't be surprised if she ran into it somewhere, like on
Right.
a planet or something.
Okay. So maybe we'll see the same scene from Boba Fett, just a different part of that time that she was there with him,
Yeah,
and then she kind of leaves, and that's where her show starts.
well, with that scene in Boba Fett, with that, well, I guess we don't know. Do you think that was before or after her looking for Thrawn and Ezra?
Yeah, I mean it could be after, but well, I don't know because the end of wow. I mean, it would be how much time is after the end of season 2 and the beginning
Right,
of both. Because if it's only a couple months from the end of season 2, then I don't know if that would be enough time. Plus, you would think Ezra would be with her at that point, and she would be bringing
right,
Ezra to Luke at that point.
yeah, I
But
know
canon
that,
wise, uh, Ben Solo is the first official um, Luke Skywalker, you know, uh, student.
really,
Still officially
wow,
in the comic books, yeah, he is credited as his first official student. I guess that's why Grogu had to make the choice he made, because then that would have messed with canon.
what do you think about that choice? Did you like it or did you
I
want the
didn't like
other?
it, but I think it makes sense.
Okay,
Only
yeah,
because they had grown such a huge bond in those 2 seasons that I think it was tough for him. He finally had a little bit of happiness, Grogu, because
yeah,
Ahsoka says he escaped from the Jedi, the temple, and then nothing but darkness after that. And now he has
right.
this bit of happiness, and I think he said, I just want to be with him. Plus, where is he? Where is he in 7, 8, and 9?
Yeah, I mean, if his name was Luke, there was a good chance he would have died. That's a feeling going out there. And I don't think they're ready to kill him off.
Well, the thing that I'm worried about is that they're going to try to sort of. I don't want him to be. I would like to see him be the next Mandalorian, because he's half man or foundling now and Jedi also, so he could wield the dark saber. I
Ooh, I like that.
So maybe what we could see is after season 3 or 4, wherever they decide to end Din Djarin's life or move on from him, have a you know future sequel series with Grogu grown up with the
Now
dark
here's a
saber.
question. Now here's a question. Is an adult Grogu Is he tall or is he like Yoda?
I think they're all short, so I think they would be somewhat like Yoda, somewhere around that height,
Okay,
maybe a little taller. Because Yaddle, I think, is a little taller than Yoda is, but not
okay,
much.
but he wouldn't be like Jedi height.
I don't think so. Maybe. I mean, we just don't know enough about their species
Right.
to really know.
Do you think we'll ever find out? Do you think we'll ever get like a name and anything?
I would say yes, but I hope not. I like the
Okay,
mystery. I like the
yeah,
mystery
me
of it.
too. Me
But I
too.
think they will eventually, go into it more. I think so.
No, no, I'm jumping around here. Did you
No,
see
that's
the news that? Did you see the news that came out yesterday? About who was going to be in Obi-Wan, but they decided not to do it.
yeah.
Well,
And I don't think it makes sense again because when he finally finds him on Tatooine and they have that final battle, he says, "I've been looking for you my whole life, or this whole time." So he
exactly.
didn't have an interaction with him. The only way I can see that working again is if he happens to go to a planet that he's on and Maul happens to hear about it, but Obi-Wan's gone by the time he gets there or something like that. But again, what's the point of that scene if they're not going to interact?
Right, right.
You know?
And well, talking about that scene in Rebels when they finally fight,
Yes.
what did you think of that? What did you think of that scene?
Again, I mean that's Dave Filoni, and he understands Star Wars better than anybody. I really believe that. I mean, he knows how to do fan service, but do it right. I mean, just it doesn't have to be pandering. Just make it part of the story and make it feel natural, like it would happen. And that's a great standoff samurai moment where they just have that quiet conversation, and then 2 seconds he's gone, and that's
Yeah,
it. But there's a lot said in that conversation,
exactly.
you know.
They should have creative to Dave Filoni and John Favreau. I mean, Kathleen Kennedy to produce
Yeah,
everything. That's my feeling to it.
yeah. I mean, she should be head of Lucasfilm, but she shouldn't be head of the creative
Right.
division, or the creative part, the storytelling part. I would leave that to Filoni and Favreau. Just let them have it.
Yeah, I mean, mine is, well, I don't want to say mine is, yeah. I like, I like it. But the freaking Mandalorian were amazing. Some of it was really, really good.
Mhm.
And I can't wait to see what comes next. I don't know about you. Oh, Kenobi. I think Kenobi looks amazing.
Yes, yes. Kenobi looks amazing. Kenobi looks like what I mean. Like I said when we did the reaction, that's how you start off a trailer campaign for a show, because that. And I don't understand why people are hating on Grandmaster so much and his look.
That's me. I see it. It doesn't bother me. I see it though.
Oh, I see the
Mm,
difference, but I mean, look at Dooku in the Clone Wars, and look at him in real life, or you couldn't do that face in real life. They're supposed to be exaggerated versions of the characters. That's why, for me, it doesn't really bother me too much because I think this is the realistic interpretation of that character. Do you know what I mean?
right. Yeah.
I don't really look at it as he has to have the tall, slender face. It would be nice if they did it, but again, it's not gonna. I mean, people are really mad about it, and I'm just like, I don't think it's that big
I,
of a deal.
let
As
me
long as he pulls it off, if he's a good, if he can pull the character off and be intimidating and be the Grand Inquisitor that we know, then I don't see what the big deal is. As long as he can pull it off.
right.
because I'm excited for it. I am over the moon for this for this show. I mean, this looks like
I mean, look at
yeah.
that.
It's not great. It's not great. I will admit that.
It's not great. It's not great.
No,
But if
no, I'm
you
not
do something
defending it. I'm just saying it's not enough for me to hate on the show for that.
right,
You
right.
know?
I think we're on the same page, right?
Sure.
If he's a good detective, it doesn't matter what he looks like. And
Yeah,
that's
I think.
true.
Yeah, yeah. It would be
Hmm.
nice if they did that. You know, if they made him, if they got somebody who was Mads. Was it Mads Mikkelsen? No, it was somebody they
Oh,
were wanting to play him that had the more slender face and
I don't
and I
know.
think people were more on board with that. But you know, again, it's not enough that I'm not going to watch the show or say, "Oh my God, I can't watch these scenes because he's in it." You know,
Now, let me ask you this.
Mhm.
How much failure are we going to get in this show?
That is a tough question because I definitely think we're going to get Vader with the Inquisitors a few times, probably, where he's
Okay.
giving them orders or getting reports from them or something. But I heard an interesting thing is what if Reva is actually turns at the end and helps Obi-Wan?
Ooh, I like that.
So maybe that's an interesting plot twist we could see where Vader, it could be Obi-Wan and Reva is the one that has to take the bullet so Obi-Wan can get away.
But
And
everybody,
I,
everybody,
yeah, where
everybody wants to
she
see that
holds
fight.
Vader all. Yeah, because we're going to get Obi Wan and Vader 1-on-1 for sure. We're not going to have. They wouldn't do Obi Wan and Reva versus Vader. That wouldn't be smart. But what I'm saying is, after their fight, Obi Wan is trying to get away, and she sort of, pushes him through a door, pushes him through an airlock, and says, "I'll hold him off. Get out of here." Something like
I
that.
see what
And
I see what you mean. Yeah, maybe. Do
because at this
you
point,
think?
I was going to say, no, just real quick. At this point, I'm pretty sure Vader could could pretty much destroy Obi Wan at this point because this is
Yeah.
absolute peak Vader. He's full power at this point. There's nothing that he pretty much can't do. And if I'm not mistaken, Luke and Palpatine are the only two people that are stronger, are considered to be stronger than Vader. Maybe Yoda, but even Yoda, I think, is under Vader as
That
far as
is
pure
one.
force power.
That is one fight I wish we content. Your number failure. That
Yeah,
would have been fun.
yeah, yeah.
Do you, do you think we'll get there?
Leia, we
Yeah.
might get a scene. We might get a scene only because I think they'll go to Alderaan. I think he'll go and see. Oh my God, why am I drawing blank on so many names today?
Ghana.
Her father. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's a good chance because they're close friends. They're
Good.
him and Obi Wan are really close. So you would think that we might see that where he has to go there and get information from him or something like that. Definitely a possibility, and we could see little Leia running around.
Do you think we get, do you, do you think we get an unknown in play here, or do you think we get somebody well known in play there?
Probably an unknown like Luke, because that kid is pretty well. I don't think he's too well known. I think that's smart in Star Wars because sometimes putting a big name in there can really pull away from it. I mean, Samuel L. Jackson worked only because he's just so cool. Even though
Right.
he is underused, we talked about he's underused and all that, but he is such a cool, charismatic person to watch. So when he is on screen, he is fun, at least. But putting a big name in there sometimes, I think, is makes it tough. Makes it real tough.
I wouldn't hate. I know the age that he worked for this time, but I wouldn't hate Millie Bobby Brown as Leia.
Okay, okay. And they were talking about that before, I believe, at some point, where they were going to do a
Right.
scene with younger Leia, and they wanted her to play her.
I mean, I don't think the age would work out for this, but maybe in the future they could grab her. You know what I mean?
Sure. Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Let me ask you something because this is the big one that everybody floats around: is Sebastian Stan for Luke at some point? What do you think about that idea?
It would be great. It would be amazing.
Could you see a
It would
series
be,
or a movie with
here's the
him?
thing. I think with all that deep fake stuff, I how about if we get me? I don't know if he would do this. If we get him when they put Mark Hamill's younger face on him,
Sure.
what would you think about that? Would that fit?
I wouldn't mind if it was sort of like a mesh of their because they are very similar looking, so they could do it. I
Right.
think they it would be easier with him. This is my only take back now of it because I love the idea and always have. Ever since those pictures surfaced of them next to each other, was that 10 years ago or something now?
Right.
But is he too big now? Is he too big now playing Falcon? And then he's been in a lot of stuff recently. Even that Pam and Tommy thing, he plays Tommy Lee. I mean, he's
Right.
becoming a pretty big actor now. So that's my only hesitation with it is, but I would love it because he is probably the closest to looking like a young Mark Hamill that we have right now. It would be cool. It
It
would be really cool.
would be cool.
I would love to see
Yeah.
just a movie of the fall of Ben Solo. Show
Yeah.
us that,
Me too.
yeah, like what led up
I
to
mean,
that, you know?
I think I would rather that be like a mini series, like one
Sure, or a miniseries.
5 episode arc on Disney Plus.
Yep.
I think that could be really good.
See,
Yeah,
and that's why I said
good.
I think Kathleen Kennedy is too restrictive on the creative part because these are the things that they should be throwing around. Whether they do it or not, who knows? But these are the ideas they should be throwing around in there. Is what can we do that is fan service, but also can fit the story that we want to tell, and keep this, together as a single timeline of events.
Now, if that happens, and that's a big if,
Hmm.
talking about Han Solo, because Han Solo would have to be in that.
Sure,
What do you do? Do you do Harrison Ford, the age, or do you go back to Arnold?
that's tough because, ooh, yeah, that's tough. Um, Maybe same thing, a combination. Get Alden Ehrenreich and kind of de-age Harrison Ford
Huh?
onto him,
Yeah.
and kind of have him do the action and do the acting and that kind of thing. But use I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough question because as much as I love Solo, it's not a Han Solo movie. It's a great Star Wars movie and a great smuggler Star Wars movie, but it's just not a great. It's he's not a great Han Solo for me. But I love the movie itself.
It's a fun, it's a fun smuggling movie with some flaws that I can't get over. Like, what is the Empire doing, giving him his name? What is that?
No, yeah, that stuff, and even the way he meets Chewie, even though it's cool, and I do actually like that scene of them fighting and him talking, speaking Wookiee to him and all that. I do actually like all of that, but still, that's not how they should meet. That's just not how they should have met.
I rather have a Lando show with Herbert coming back to play a young Lando. He nailed it out of the park.
I'll tell you what, too. I would love to see a Beckett show. I love Woody
Yes,
Harrelson in that movie. He is great in that movie. Actually, I really like him and his crew. I think that would be a really fun series if they did, before he meets Han Solo, with their, a few of their adventures, just to like get a limited series.
what? Oh God! What was the name of the character that Paul Bettany played in that movie? Do you remember?
The one that was that. Oh, yeah, no, I'm drawing again. I'm drawing a blank. I'm drawing a blank on
Yeah.
that one. But there's a lot of good characters. The one that flies the ship with all the arms. That's funny, really funny character, great character. And
Well,
that was John Favreau, right? That played that
yeah.
one.
What did you think of the droid? Of that droid?
Oh, Lando's droid. Yeah, no, I like
Yeah.
Lando's droid. I like their back and forth. I like that she's sassy and she stands up for herself. That was a cool little thing they've never done really with a droid before. That I like.
Yeah, it was a fun. I wouldn't put it in my top tier Star Wars movie, but I had fun with it. I don't know
Yeah,
about you, but
no, it's a fun movie. It
definitely,
really is.
yeah.
It really is. I love the land how they meet when they meet Han and Lando. I love that scene. That's one of the best scenes in the movie by far. Because
Mm-hmm.
Donald Glover is great as a young Lando. He plays that part perfectly.
What did you think of Emilia Clarke in that movie?
Who? Sorry, who?
Emilia Clarke from Game of
Oh,
Thrones?
Kira. Kira.
Yeah, Kira, thank you.
Yeah. Um, I liked her, but again, I'd like to see more because she was just kind of gone for a while in in the middle of the movie, and then comes back at the very end. But I'd like to see more. I'd love to see that Red Dawn show with Maul running the Red Dawn Syndicate, or
Do you think
and
we'll get
her.
that? Do you
I
think
would
we
like to
will
see
get
it.
that?
I don't know, but I would love to see it because that's a cool idea. That's another, like what Boba Fett could have been, a gangster, kind of underground type movie or show, where he's running the Red Dawn with Kira. That would be really
That
cool.
would be that would be fun. When you
Yeah,
put Boba Fett in that show,
he could. He would be around at that point. I mean, he would be bounty hunting still at that point, so he could just come in as a gun for hire for something they need him to do. That would work.
I still get. I don't want to say I get annoyed. I get confused.
Okay.
We had a whole Boba Fett show, right? Not one, not one disintegration.
Yeah. Again, I don't know. I don't know what they did. That show just seemed like they had a good idea and they just couldn't figure out the way to land it. That's just kind of how that show felt. Like they had a good idea to start with because I really did like all the lead up in the first few episodes. Um, but it's just that when they get to the Mandalorian episode and the Luke episode, it really just is you can see it. So you didn't really have an ending. You didn't have really where this was going to go. You just didn't know where it was going to end.
It felt more like Kathy Kennedy out of all the other shows, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yep.
It feels like she had her hands tight on that one for some reason.
Yes. I agree. I agree. Again, I like it for what it is. It gives us a lot of great Star Wars moments, and I mean, him coming up over the buildings on the Rancor is still one of the coolest things I've ever seen in Star Wars.
Me too.
But the finish just wasn't. He didn't. They didn't land it. They
That,
the
let me ask
Okay.
you, does that make you nervous for Obi-Wan?
No, because they've been planning this for so long that
Okay.
I think this story they have on. I think Boba Fett came out of the fact that people were so excited when we saw the Spurs in the first season of Mandalorian. I mean, that's all people talked about when the second season started was where is Boba Fett coming? When is he coming? When we have to see Boba Fett? And then we get that first episode with Cobb Vanth in the Boba Fett suit, and you just know, okay, now he's coming. It's for sure he's coming. And I think that fever, they saw it and said, we got to do this. We have to get him in some way in a show. I think that's what that was.
So you
And I
you
think it
think of
got
it
well.
first. You
Yeah, I
you
think they saw an opportunity also to bridge the gap between Mandalorian 2 and 3, season 2 and 3.
do you think originally do you think Grogu was going to come back to Mando, or do you think originally he was going to stay with Luke?
I think we might get a. There could be a possible twist where he takes him back to Luke because after that conversation he has with Ahsoka, she pretty much tells him like, look, you know, I know you love the kid, but if you see him, you're gonna mess up his training. And I think he might realize that. Like, I'm not the right one to train you. I'm sorry, I love you, but I'm not the right one to train you. And we might see him go back to Luke at some point in season 3.
Oh, I
It's a
don't.
possibility. It's a possibility.
It is. I don't think it's a high one
No, it might not be a high one
uh,
now,
because they know everybody loves Baby Yoda.
but it would throw
And I
people
mean,
off. It would throw people off.
I I think to be honest, I think they got nervous about Baby Yoda being off the show, and I think that's why they had him come back.
Oh, I think so too,
I
for sure.
I I don't think they're ready to give up on that.
Oh, it was definitely a money. It was definitely a money thing. They saw they were going to lose money for sure, for sure. I
I
think
mean,
that
think
had,
about it.
yeah.
Yeah, with him back already, did that make the season two finale of Mando? Did that make that completely pointless?
It almost does. Yes, I would agree with that. Yeah, it does. I mean, I think it was necessary for the story of the Mandalorian, but again, like I said, once they seen the success of Boba Fett and all that, I think, and like you said, Grogu and the money they're going to lose without Grogu in the show, I think it was, yeah, definitely somebody said, hey, you can't do that. We can't sell toys without him.
I know his name is Grogu. He always be Baby Yoda to me. I don't know about you.
I still do it too. I love calling him Baby Yoda. Yeah, I agree.
Eh, I I love it. I love that one episode where he kept eating the eggs.
Yeah. I tell you, I still think the only thing that makes sense is Yoda and Yaddle as the parents. I still
Yeah.
believe that's the only thing that makes sense because they said that their species is almost extinct, or and they don't have a home planet anymore. That so what if Yoda just saying, hey, for the sake of our species, we need to do this. And yeah, and that is
Ooh.
Grogu is their son.
Into my tent you come. Into my tent you come. I
Yeah,
have
I mean it's
something.
not
I
love. They
know.
didn't fall in love. They didn't fall in love or anything. It was just for the procreation of the species to keep the species going. They didn't break the Jedi rules technically.
What? Hmm. Something I have. Do you want some?
So hey, it could absolutely be the case. It could absolutely be the case. And we have to remember this is Star Wars. They have some crazy technology, so maybe they didn't even have to do the consummation part. They could have went to Camino
Oh,
and said, "Hey,
I like to think they did. I like to think they had some fun. I like music that have some fun.
Have you ever
No,
seen
no,
Have you ever seen Seed of Chucky?
yeah,
Or not? I
yeah,
don't think it's Bride of Chucky, where it's
yeah.
the two dolls and they have that one scene with them in the motel. That's
Have
what
you
I think
have
that's
you
just
have
just
you
two
ever
Frank
seen
Oz puppets.
have you have you ever seen Team America?
Yes, yes, exactly. That's great. That's a good
Oh,
one. That's exactly right.
let me ask you, how did we go from Attack on the Clones in Team America?
Did you see it?
Yeah.
That's funny.
So, so as we start to wind up here, any last thoughts on Attack on the Clones or anything you want to get off your chest?
Sure. I did. I wanted to ask you about because I'm a huge history person, so I love the Colosseum part where they fight.
Yep.
The three monsters and all that. What do you like that scene overall?
Yeah, I did. I did.
Okay.
It was a fun action scene. Maybe a
Mhm.
little too CGI heavy, but it was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
I
really,
just love that
yeah,
scene because it's just a really cool scope scene. It shows the hugeness of that arena and that area they're in. So when that battle happens, you're not wondering how the heck are there 2,000 Jedi and all these bugs things everywhere. They're fighting. So, but I love that scene just because it's such a good callback to that time period. It's a cool thing.
absolutely.
Yeah. But no, other than that, no, I didn't really have anything else.
Well, I think, yeah, me neither. I mean, there's only so much we can talk about Attack on the Clones and not get annoyed with it, right?
But there is a
But,
lot of good. There is a lot of
yeah,
good.
there is good. There's good in everything.
Yes.
But I'm really looking forward to talking about Revenge of the Sith on our next episode. That's
Yeah.
going to be fun.
Yes. Like I said, out of the three, that is by far my favorite. I really do love that movie. I
Mind
love
you,
that.
I think, yeah, me too. I can't wait to talk about it. Well, I
Okay.
think that will do it for this episode. Where can
Awesome.
everyone find you?
I am on Twitter at Jedi Master Talk, and you can also find me on Facebook at just Don Tucker. Um, right now, I'm gonna have a few
And
more
you,
hopefully soon, guys.
yeah, you can find me at my Twitter, Ben_Rainy, right here every Wednesday, every Monday at deep dive, every Sunday starting this week on Unwind. I'm also on the Northern Entertainment Group on Rewind the Tape and Northern Countdown. That's where you
Sure.
can find me. We'll be back next Wednesday for another lesson, another class in the Jedi Academy. But until then, may the Force be with you.
May the force be with you.